The morning started like any other in the quiet, tree-lined neighborhood of Meadowgrove. Birds chirped overhead. Sunlight filtered through the curtains of the Thompson family's kitchen, and the smell of brewed coffee danced in the air. 11-year-old Lily sat cross-legged on the floor beside a small crate nestled near the back door. Inside lay her pride and joy. Max, an 8-week-old Labrador puppy with eyes like warm honey and a tail that never stopped wagging. He'd only been part of their family for 6 days, but to Lily, Max was already everything. He'd curled up beside her when she read, followed up footsteps like a shadow, and licked away her tears the night she missed her mom, who had passed away the year before. Max was her healing. That morning, though, something felt different. Max didn't greet her with the usual enthusiasm. His tail, usually thumping against the crate's plastic walls, remained still. Lily's smile faded as she reached in to pet him. His nose, usually cold and wet, was warm and dry. He whined softly, curling tighter into himself. Lily called out to her dad, Thomas, a stoic but kind man who worked long hours as a mechanic, but always made time for his daughter and her pup. He knelt down, inspecting Max with quiet concern. "Maybe he's just tired," he said, though doubt flickered in his voice. "Let's see how he does today." As the hours passed, Max grew worse. He didn't touch his food. He refused water. When Lily tried to coax him outside, he staggered, then collapsed onto the grass, his eyes dull and unfocused. Panic welled up in Lily's chest. Thomas, now visibly worried, scooped the puppy into his arms and told Lily to grab her coat. They drove in silence, the air thick with fear, until they reached the local veterinary clinic. A bell chimed as they entered, and the receptionist looked up, recognizing the urgency in Thomas's expression. Dr. Eliza Monroe, a seasoned vet known for her gentle demeanor and fierce dedication to animals, emerged from the back. One look at Max and her expression turned grave. She moved quickly, asking questions, her hands working with practiced efficiency. "Has he been vomiting? Any diarrhea?" Lethargy started when? Thomas answered as best he could. Lily stood back, trembling, watching as Max was whisked away. After what felt like forever, Dr. Monroe returned. Her voice was calm but firm. "It looks like parvovirus," she said. "We'll need to start treatment immediately." Lily had never heard the word before. Thomas had. His face paled. "But he's just a baby?" he whispered. Parvo, as Dr. Monroe explained, is a highly contagious virus that attacks the gastrointestinal tract of puppies and unvaccinated dogs. It spreads through contact with infected feces, contaminated surfaces, or even on the soles of shoes. Puppies like Max, whose immune systems are still developing, are especially vulnerable. "The earlier we catch it, the better the odds," she said gently. "But it's going to be a fight." The next few days were a blur. Max remained at the clinic, receiving fluids, anti-nausea medications, antibiotics to stave off secondary infections, and around-the-clock monitoring. Lily visited every day after school, sitting beside his cage, reading to him through tears. Dr. Monroe kept them updated with cautious optimism. "He's responding slowly," she said. "He hasn't vomited today. That's a good sign." As a days turned into a week, Max began to lift his head again. Then he drank water. Then ate. His eyes regained their sparkle. The vet staff began to call him their little fighter. And when Dr. Monroe finally said he could go home, Lily cried in her father's arms. That night, with Max curled up beside her once more, Lily asked her father the question that had been nagging her. Could we have stopped it before he got this sick? Thomas sighed. He'd asked himself the same thing. The truth was hard to face. They hadn't known what to look for. They hadn't known the signs. So they learned. They sat together on the couch while Dr. Monroe, now a regular figure in their lives, walked them through the early warning signs of parvo. "It starts subtle," she said. "The earliest clue is usually a change in behavior. Your pup may seem unusually tired or not interested in playing. Then comes loss of appetite. If they stop eating or drinking, take it seriously. Vomiting and diarrhea follow. The diarrhea is often bloody and very foul-smelling. That's when we know the virus has really taken hold." Thomas nodded, remembering how Max had refused breakfast that morning. They had brushed it off. "We didn't know," he whispered. Dr. Monroe continued. "Vaccination is the strongest defense. Puppies need a series of shots starting at 6 to 8 weeks of age, then every 3 to 4 weeks until they're about 16 weeks old. The Parvo vaccine is part of a combo called the DHPP. Max hadn't finished his series. He was exposed before his immunity could build. It made Lily angry. Not at anyone, but at how easily something so small could bring so much pain. She turned her sadness into purpose. She began telling her friends at school, helping their families understand the importance of vaccinations. She wrote a presentation for her class about Parvo, complete with drawings of white blood cells and viruses, her voice shaking but steady. Max, now stronger and more playful than ever, became a local hero. His story was shared on the clinic's Facebook page, reaching other dog owners who had never heard of Parvo before. One by one, puppies were brought in for their vaccines just in case. Dr. Monroe became a mentor to Lily. She let her shadow the clinic on weekends, teaching her how to gently comfort scared animals and explaining the science behind illness and recovery. Lily absorbed every word. Her bond with Max, tested through fear and suffering, had given her something else: clarity. She wanted to become a veterinarian. She wanted to fight for the animals who couldn't fight for themselves. Max, of course, had no idea he'd nearly died. He was too busy chasing butterflies in the backyard, chewing on shoes and stealing socks. But his scars, hidden beneath sleek fur, told a story Lily never forgot. Every time he sneezed or skipped a meal, her heart fluttered, but knowledge brought peace. She knew what to look for. She knew how to act fast. Then, one afternoon, nearly a year later, the phone rang. It was Mrs. Carter, their elderly neighbor, and her voice trembled. "Lily, it's Bella, my puppy. She hasn't eaten all day. She's throwing up. I didn't know who else to call." Lily dropped everything. Max followed close behind. She and her father rushed to Bella's side. One look was enough. "We need to get her to Dr. Monroe now," Lily said. Her voice didn't shake this time. Bella was lucky. Caught early, treated quickly. She made a full recovery. Mrs. Carter hugged Lily with tears in her eyes. "You saved her," she whispered. "No," Malix did. Years passed. Max grew older, slower, his muzzle dusted with gray. Lily graduated from high school, then vet school, with Dr. Monroe beaming in the front row. She returned to Meadowgrove to open her own clinic. Max's Place, a tribute to the pup who changed everything. The walls were lined with photos of rescue dogs, vaccinated pups, and proud owners. And on the counter stood a frame with a faded picture: Lily, age 11, her arms wrapped tightly around a black crate, eyes red from crying but full of hope. Inside the frame, tucked behind the photo, was a handwritten note she'd scribbled one night after Max fell asleep beside her again. "Dear Max, you scared me. But you showed me what matters. I promise I'll protect others like you, no matter what. Love, Lily." Outside, on the clinic's lawn, a group of children played with puppies during a community awareness event. Lily stood nearby, holding a leash, smiling. Max, now 13, trotted slowly beside her, tail wagging, eyes gleaming in the sun. And somewhere in the crowd, a little girl knelt beside her own new puppy, whispering softly, "Don't worry, I'll take care of you. I know what to watch for. You're safe now," because one girl learned the signs, one family acted fast, one puppy survived, and that one story saved 100 more. Because one girl learned the signs, one family acted fast, one puppy survived, and that one story didn't just end in relief. It sparked a movement. Lily's journey with Max taught the entire town something they hadn't known before: that love alone isn't always enough. It has to be backed with knowledge, with awareness, with action. And in a world where one missed sign could mean the difference between life and death, that awareness became a lifeline. Max didn't just survive Parvo. He became a reason others did too. His near loss became the loudest warning bell, echoing the hearts of every dog owner who saw Lily's story, who saw their own puppy in Max's eyes. Vaccines stopped being a chore. They became a promise, a vow to protect, a barrier between a family and heartbreak. Years later, as Lily stood beneath the sign that read, "Max's Place Animal Clinic," she didn't just see a name. She saw every dog that wagged its tail because someone caught the signs in time. She saw every child who didn't have to cry on a clinic floor, begging for their puppy to wake up. She saw what prevention could do, what early action could save, what one little heartbeat could start. Max was old now, slower, grayer, but his eyes still held the same spark, the same silent loyalty. And when he looked up at Lily that evening, as the clinic lights turned off and the last appointment left with a smiling child and a vaccinated pup, she knelt beside him and whispered through tears, "We did it, Max. You didn't just survive, you saved lives." And that's why this story matters. That's why it must be told. Because if even one more person learns the signs, if one more puppy gets their shot in time, then Max's fight wasn't just a fight. It was a legacy. So don't wait for the symptoms to get worse. Don't brush off the signs. Don't think it won't happen to your dog. Learn. Act. Protect. Because Parvo doesn't wait. And sometimes, saving a life starts with simply knowing when something's not right. And for every Max out there, still wagging their tail thanks to early action, this is your reminder: one story can change everything.